Hey, welcome to my channel. Today's video, wish fulfilled, living in the end, all of that stuff. How do you do that? Maybe you've been trying to do it. Maybe you've been doing it for months and you haven't seen any results. So perhaps you would come to me and ask me a question, send me an email through my website and say, I have been living in the wish fulfilled for 3 months, let's say 4 months, for 4 months, because that's quite a long time, and I haven't seen any movement whatsoever. What am I doing wrong? Right, you're not doing anything wrong. All that's happening is the wish fulfilled that you're trying to live in is conflicting with your underlying vibration that you have about the situation. So although you're trying to and you're talking to yourself as if you already have this person in your life, you're not actually feeling it. And if you're not feeling it, you're not getting it, because we get what we feel. We get that vibration, that underlying vibration, or that out there vibration, whatever it is, we get that. We don't get what we're trying to do. So if you say to me, well, I've set this intention, so why aren't I getting that? Because it doesn't matter what we intend. If we intend something and then feel differently, we'll get what we feel. So a better way to work with wish fulfilled, living in the end, is just to do it in short bursts and see this as your thing that you're going to do. You're not going to do any other exercise, because you can't try and live in the wish fulfilled and then apply other techniques in order to manifest that person, because then you're not living in the wish fulfilled at all if you're then trying other things. So you purely want to do that, but not day in, day out, because probably you're doing that and it's not working for you. Because can you imagine the resistance? I couldn't imagine that. I couldn't do that. The resistance that there would be there, and I would be constantly living, like battling with myself. If you can do that, then that is awesome and you will manifest super, super quick. But if you can do that, you probably wouldn't be here. So how to do it? Just say that this is going to be your way, because the best way to create is by living in the wish fulfilled, but you don't have to do it all of the time. That's how I do it. I've tried everything else when I started with this and nothing worked for me really once I really started trying, because trying to manifest, as I say a lot, should not be a phrase. And when I learned that and I stopped trying and I pulled back, this is all I did and this is all I do. I do find the wish fulfilled, but I find it, and I know it's completely artificial. I'm not pretending to believe. I'm not trying to believe that I have it. I never try to believe anything. I just kick in that feeling artificially. So I find my desire. I find the wish fulfilled within me. I feel that feeling of. So all the feeling of the wish fulfilled is, how would you feel if you had it now, and you just tap into that feeling? And it's an artificial thing, but it's there, it's within you. So it's within you, so you can create from it. You do that, and then, just sit with it for a little bit. Then if you feel like you need to do a bit more than that, with me, I would just do that. And then I would try to get the feeling of it is done. And then I would say to myself, it's out of my hands now. There's nothing I can do. I don't want to try to create the bridge of instance. I want to let that happen in the best possible way. That's all I do. But I've been doing this for a long time, so it's easier for me to do that and not get hung up on having to do more and more, because you really, really don't. I've talked on my members area this week about just making a simple wish, and sometimes, well, it is as simple as that really, but we just make it complicated. But that's understandable, because we're human beings. We make everything complicated. So do that. Do it for a few minutes. Just say to yourself, I am going to live in the wish fulfill for 2 minutes at a time, and that's all, because you don't really need to do it any longer than that. You could do it fleetingly for a few seconds and manifest with that if you weren't hung up on the outcome. So do that, and don't say to yourself, I'm going to do this 10 times a day or anything like that. Just do it when you feel like it. Oh, I feel like it today. I'm going to do it for a couple of minutes, and then let's say you do it for 2 weeks, on and off for 2 weeks. As soon as you feel any resistance creeping in, just stop. There's no point doing it and fighting with yourself if you're not. So 2 minutes keeps that really on point and keeps that vibration really pure, and that's what you want. The purest of vibrations will manifest exactly as. When we mix it up, we just get that mixed version back. So you do that, and then you go about your business and you try to distract yourself as much as possible. And the way that you do that is by reminding yourself this is your reality. You don't have to reach for anything. Why should you? You want to experience a certain thing, but you want to experience it in the best possible way. You don't have to reach out for anything. You already have it. You've created it already by getting that feeling of having it. And you are all important. You are number one. You don't need to put anybody on a pedestal. As soon as you put someone on a pedestal, you start to think that they're better than you, or you might not think that you think that, but you're starting to behave as if they're slightly out of reach, and then they will become slightly out of reach. Imagine trying to reach for something. This is how this is. You try to reach for something with a bit of desperation in there. I want it, I'm really feeling that need for it. and it moves back. And this is whatever you're trying to get, it really does. But let's imagine that person there, you're reaching for them, they take a step back, you nearly get to them, they take a step back, and it keeps going on and on and on like that. And that's how this will be the more you are kind of sort of trying hard and not feeling it. You're more feeling the lack, and even if you don't know that, there will be an underlying vibration of lack there, which is why you aren't getting it. It's like a block. So once you create that feeling inside of you as if you have it already, then you have created it. Then all that you need to do, and I know it's easy to say, I know it's very easy to say all that you need to do. I know it's harder than that for us because we're human beings, but that really is what you need to do, is to feel it as if you already have it, on and off, and then say to yourself, when you feel that you've done enough. Now, I would feel like I'd done enough after doing this once, but sometimes I might do it a few more times than that just because I feel like it. And then when I really think, no, that's done, I don't want to get into obsession, because we can all do that, and I can do that myself because I do have an addictive personality naturally, so I do have to rein it in. I sit there and I say to myself, it is done, and I get the feeling of it is done, and it's a brief feeling and it just goes by in seconds, and then it kind of slips away from me, but I don't then try to get it back again. I know that I've done it. Once I've done that, it is done, and there's nothing else that I can do. So what I'm really saying in that moment is, I'm done. There is nothing else that I can do. I leave it to whatever this higher power is, and I don't know what it is, but I leave it to that, because there definitely is one, isn't there? You know, whether it's us, our higher selves, or whatever, I don't know, but there is something more than us as human beings, and I leave it then to that. And then I think it'd be really cool if this happens. That's it. I'm done with that then. So if you can do that and get closer to that kind of practice, then what will happen is you will start to just do your other activities, communicate with your friends and your family and all of that, and you will start to lose your tight grip on it, and you won't necessarily notice at first. And then when you do notice that you have lost that really tight grip, congratulate yourself and say, oh my God, I'm really improving here. I'm getting really good at this. This is definitely the way to go for me, because feeling it is the best way to get it. Feeling it or feeling nothing. So just completely releasing it and getting on with whatever, which is what I do now. When I get to that point where I've released it, then it's like a big gaping hole for that manifestation to come in, for that creation to show itself to you. And that's what you want. You want space for it to come in. And when you're holding on tightly, you're not giving it space. You're just forcing it back out again. You're not leaving, there's no room for it to get in. So you need to make that room for it. And if you like the idea of living in the end, living in the wish fulfilled, but you know that you can't do it day in, day out, which most of us can't, there's nothing wrong with that. You're unusual if you can do that. Then that's when it shows itself. But it shows itself always when you're least expecting it. Neville said that as well. When you're least expecting it, it shows up, and it always does. And it will always be a slight surprise, even though it shouldn't be to us. It shouldn't be to me. I'm sort of surprised and sort of not. And I still find it amazing. Every time I create something on point, I always am amazed at it and think, God, this is so incredible. It's awesome, it's amazing, and it's frustrating all at the same time when we just haven't quite found our way. When you find your way, it becomes easier, but you will always probably naturally doubt everything I do. I never think to myself, that's definitely going to come now. I just think there's really great odds that that's going to come now, because that just releases a little bit more resistance for me. So that is how you find the wish fulfilled, but you don't obsess about living in the wish fulfilled, because then you're doing it like an exam, and you're feeling like, you know, well, I've done it all right, but actually, yeah, you're doing it, but you're not feeling it. And if you're not doing it, if you're doing it and not feeling it, then you're not really, I suppose that is not doing it right as such. If you get frustrated with anything that you're doing, stop. Just stop, take a step back and come back to it when you feel better. But I would always say, from my point of view, less is more. You may be the person that cannot get on board with that and thinks, no, I need to do lots. I want to do lots, and that's fine. But I don't want to do lots because I want to get on with my life as much as I possibly can. And I love the feeling of, it's not for me to do this if I just let it to something else, leave it to something else. So in a way, I'm not letting the actual desire go, I'm just letting something else deal with it. It's that kind of feeling that you're looking for. Any feeling that gives you a slight release is brilliant. Right, I hope this helps. If you don't know anything about me, then I'm an author. I've written 4 books. They're all listed below. They're all available on Amazon. I also have a members area on my website. You pay £5 a month. You get access to over 140 modules, coming up to 150 now. There's lots of video tutorials in there, all that sort of thing. We do a Sunday chat, which is pre-recorded, but where I talk about absolutely anything and everything that people have asked me about, the members have asked me about. You get one-to-one email coaching support with that. There's a members hub in there where you can talk to other members, give recommendations and that sort of thing, ask questions. There's a favourite section, so you get to favourite all the modules that you love and that are useful to you. And you get that coaching support from me. So if you were to send me an email, for example, to give you an example of how it works, you send me an email via the members section and you ask me about your particular situation. So you can ask me about a particular situation, or you can ask me about particular modules that you're working on at the time or you're looking at the time. Then you will get an answer from me within 48 hours. Generally, it's quicker than that, and you might even get one half an hour later after you send it. Depends on what I'm doing on that day. But if it ever goes over 3 days, then you give me a nudge because something's happened, it's gone into spam or something. But you will be wasting probably a maximum of 48 hours generally. You know, sometimes if there's stuff going on, if there's public holidays and that sort of thing, it might be longer, like for instance this Easter weekend. But generally within 48 hours, often sooner than that. And we can go backwards and forwards as much as you like with any particular subject. It's just whatever you want to use it for. Okay, my son has a Law of Attraction channel, that's Harrison Ellis, and that's listed below, and that's everything on that is a specific person. He also does some coaching and he has a Patreon page, so you can contact him, get some personal help that way. And I think that's about it really. So thanks for watching, and I really appreciate you taking the time to watch my videos.